Who would have thought of this abandoned cave in front of him? After being recreated by this man, it became not only the residence of a loving family, but there was also a half-fake Heavenly Wilderness revealing field. Because of the recent addition of his grandfather and the child, the family can only love and find a new place to live. All members carried the tools left by the ancestors to go through the dangers. It was also found in a large cave. A house with people here is not a problem. I immediately started digging work, and then I still moved the stones that were nearby to make a background. Mrs. Kim had added a tree to form a wall, and there were many small stones that could spread the yard. Many tablets have been able to enter this type of process to save more time. To continue to open his voice to try to be gloomy, used the national policy to snatch all the strings in a line. The wife entered the brittle child around the platform. The places were a little too much to be a place to look at people. The mother was presenting lunch, and the children were on the motorbike. But in order to make the way home more cautious, they opened up trouble uncertainties. The easier it is to get up and down, the more important it will be. At this time, the wall had created an empty area. Just spread the ancestral ginseng sheet left in the group halfway up, and there will be a warm source of home, and the machine will be discharged. A heavy belly with human openings in it. And is convenient for people to use water. Some pregnant wives have pushed water on the trunk of the tree. Just by pulling a faucet, you can get the water to lie. Whether brushing teeth or leaning on a bowl, it is very expensive. At night, the whole family spins their pants in pungent and oily black, then they are rowed outside. There is this man, who was responsible for the doors so that the zoo can keep the attack. The next day, when the whole family was still building very shallowly, I went to my wife and brought back a lot of materials, and then the wood can be built. Finding a hand to be deep can make a more serious green eating step. The elder son also did not change. In order to solve the job to go back to bake, he ate and put many stones back together. The red comedian has replaced the piece of wood with a hard piece of wood. After using a solid wooden set, a toilet that is quite painful has been completed. And the residual materials collected were a wooden flag. On the side of the scene, they will make a house. They use a drum to absorb the other child to make the ants more painful. And the input can see the whole plate in a water tank. As long as it is not water, the plate can be replaced. The low-frequency palpation of the energetic test has been completed. But the whole family at this time began to build the second frequency. Playing in the morning has turned the big stones into a stone wall. The structure of the houses is supported by wood, then books and ceramics. But in order to strengthen the earth-shaped structure, a rope can be tied through the net to filter away from guests. Then, choose with water to create a distance from the car with an inclination. Then, fill the space and place the crop stones on the legs. Wait until the book dries, there will be more and more beautiful dramas, and then use some wooden shelves as a stand. But in general, it seems that it is still quite encouraging. After placing large momentum stones to pop the ladder on the right side of the field, a small platform is also made. That way, it is possible to call quite a lot of dollars in the family. And this platform of Mrs. Kim put oil black on it can also summon all the threads to the common house, which is very beautiful. And it can also be used to see if any of the pets are getting closer. But the family is quite large. These medium-sized pickaxes can be renovated into a large living room. The house continued to open this week, and then turned the land on each other. They got lost in the row of filter wires and made ice cubes like last time, which they used to fill in the gaps and gaps. After Sybil's story, everyone had another platform lying down and looking at him. A large relic with a dense structure is enough for a house of 10 people to live on. But the next day, the baby girl came to the roof that the new podium could already be used. After doing a simple outcry, you can put this new baby lying down. To celebrate the communal house, there were more and more people, and the mother baked free meat for everyone to eat. Today's meal was really full of energy. The eldest son, wanting to celebrate our man, quietly drove back into the city and used the money he had saved for half a year to buy a large rolled cake. After returning home, everyone was already sitting neatly. They were a little happy together, and it was also a long time before they turned the pants together. It was a test of the roof exhaust fairing. According to the joyful tone, he plans to build a garage for the roof car and make goats together for convenience. In order for everyone to get dressed in the car, Armin's son returned the car to his wife. Go up to a water embankment away to get the book water back. They use their minds on this man where to snatch the book will be the right piece of the shirt. After that, take more book water and bamboo shoots and clothes to go home. Because it is necessary to dry the clothes that have just been booked. The man hooked the boat to hold the tree and dried it like this, and in the afternoon it would dry immediately. In order to see the machine travel more conveniently, Mayan family began to open the heavenly part of the corn. They accidentally dug out a large stone, and left it next to it to make each stone. The rest of the family didn't have books in the rocks that needed them. These men are still working on the remnants of the flocks, and will soon have an owner for the near ones. But it was very difficult to set up a dangerous field, and the machine was not finished until the night. It is also possible to park, and not be afraid of being swept away. The next day, when I woke up blind, I saw a motorbike and ate it all there, but everyone was too indiscriminate. In order to avoid a long rotten taste in the evening, you have to do a long story. He will widen the carriage and is already small on the side of the wall, and then only add a few female props. These are the children who are drunk, and then the stuff full of stones clumsily inside is a story to lie about. No one will see anything when the month is guaranteed. So these are effective, they start to open more on the side. This place can be reserved for the water taken on this new yen yesterday to fit when cutting. The imbalance is under the two sides of the cliff. They use shinbills and clumsy stones to increase the elegance. The style of weighing this action is the water style. From the side of Uncle Them going up, there was a rather sloppy landlady who could not take sides. Now, they need to be brittle and clean up the stones and then renovate them to force them so that they don't get kicked down. However, this is also an area where foxfires are likely to fall. The weighted clumsy stone is planted by lightning on top of each other to form a road that divides two platforms. Just a little renovation is enough to get another extremely large uninhabited. If the most important is through the smart renovation of our men, there is no longer worry about half of the land being burned down, but there is also an additional platform. Going to live for special scales, but now he has more than half to be beautiful. This day happens to be the birthday of the little. The house that has been installed in my place is broken in tight. Then, take out the colorful wire connecting the two sides excitedly. Just a light pile of communal houses will immediately have a little bit of joy on this birthday with many colors. Because of this dinner, the little son sent a fire to get clean water. The weight of the child and the 4 half-barrier barrels are a big challenge with this road. If you ask for Japan, it is impossible to do without bran cakes. The father drove a few tens of kilometers to the road, and then went to an intermediate state, and it became a shrimp cart to have enough luxury to enter the center. He went to the best bakery, and used the money he had saved for 5 years to buy a hip pie. Although he was a little feverish because of his daughter, he agreed that he would also bring back some fear of decorative cords. It was not until the evening that I heard that I came back, when the man who had just arrived looked at the strange children. Because he hasn't been able to canal cake many times a year, it's not just that it's the darkest, but the enthusiasm of the children is hard to resist. 10 people enjoy the comfort of the machine in weighing and trying to act. Normally, everyone who worked just now rarely turned the tables. They were all together, every happy conversation and cake. Early the next day, a whole family made milk cakes, even though they had just gotten the milk themselves. After shaking it back and forth, they fill to the bottom part, then a thick slud bottom will remain. Put more flour in it and start to raise it. Looking at this piece of milk is delicious. This man went to make a cross rack, made a spinning wheel to avoid insects, then spread the animal stalk in the street, and beat the milk cake outside to dry. Just wait and have a delicious meal from these lovely owners. In order to prevent the rope from leaving behind, they made a field and then added one next to the tree above. And they also made a temporary landlord for the rope fighter. Use them next to the tree with the ancestral catch, you can compete for the road. Not only can you sleep on the phone, but also get a lot of money. In 4 or 5 carefree people, and at the same time, they can speak up in advance if someone attacks. This area is still quite dangerous to use here. How to write the custom to open the voice of the reproductive scale, you have to build an abundance to keep the herd safe. To buy building materials, stop eating bamboo shoots in the city to sell them in exchange for bamboo shoots. Because handmade bamboo shoots are often the worst, there have also been many broken stones, injuring family members. So he began to spread the bamboo shoots, pulling the front part of the body to slip up and down more safely. Wait until it is dry, and the yard is full of joy to go home. After that, he began to renovate the podium, and part of the podium was named cigarettes. His first child was on top of the material, and the people below were mixing the mortar. Family members do it very well in just one day to complete the stone. In the evening, the stone platforms are more formal and more prosperous in the flower industry. Living here is no longer the same as living in action. The parts of the bamboo shoot that were late had now begun to burst. He began to renovate, and his legs pointed to all the determinants. They went to collect it condolly, but still moved up, intending to put it full and then make sure the bamboo shoots. But the room will be full of dirty days. The strength of the whole force had improved even more, and the legs that had developed the strength of the harness are also more developed. The domestic chicken is extremely large. The fabric of the machine chicken can also withstand countless diseases. Zed is the most variable animal in the family. They are also starting to be pushed to fight and be more careful. To congratulate you on this renovation step, the house brought the pot and rope to the small river and then spread the carpet. Then a rope is asked to be made from the mouth, please. This late girl blamed the tea breaker, then they prayed for fish and the whole people at the pedestal. They already have a plan. There are delicious dishes to eat, and the pot by the river is part of life. Living in a different balance, trying to act, can be okay for a while, until the original is here. The scene is just telling the exam. At that time, it was decided that even though it was an opening, it would start a new journey and go down. Find a place with the source of the original Feng Fu, and start renovating the new residence as a Feng Li. And on top of that, I have the courage to apologize for the deep life porridge.